Hi, welcome to Life Talk. I'm your host, Father John Muir. We're here in the Diocese of Phoenix. We explore various crucial issues related to the sanctity of human life at all stages. It's a joy to be with you. I'm the Vicar General and moderator of the curia of the Diocese of Phoenix. Also, I'm the pastor of St. Mary's Basilica in downtown Phoenix. And I'm with three wonderful people today, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I'm with Kevin Stars, our Director of Prison Ministry here in the Diocese of Phoenix, and also Nick Provincial.
Yes.
And Margot Lira. And guys, just really, really great to be with you. We're going to be exploring some of the great things that have come out of our prison ministry here in the Diocese of Phoenix. And Kevin, why don't you introduce Nick and Margot and tell us a little bit more about them?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having us. So I met Nick in around 1990 working at the Boys and Girls Club in Chandler. In Guadalupe. In Guadalupe. And then we had our relationship for about 3 or 4 years, and we lost contact. Then we reconnected when Nick was in the county jail, 10 years ago.
Yeah, what was it, 2005?
Yeah, and we spent a couple of years together. Then he disappeared, and then we reconnected about 1.5 years ago. Yeah, and then we'll talk about that more. And then I met Margot when he was about 12 years old, around 98.
90.
Yeah. And basically, him and I have been together ever since. He went to prison for 7 years, but we've been in contact. He's now 39, so both of us we've had these long-term relationships. So
okay, that's great. So you guys knew Kevin back before his hair was gray.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
We had a little skip to it.
Let me just say too, I feel like I should have worn a hat today because you guys all have great hats on.
Yeah.
But here's my. So just take me back. I don't know where to start. Maybe Nick, why don't we start with you? So take me back. You're in the county jail. What are your memories of the first time this man walked into your life?
I've known Kevin since he was a Boys and Girls Club director, and always a positive figure in the neighborhood, always helping out the families. The families loved him in Guadalupe. So I guess he found out I was incarcerated. He went and visited, and it was positive. I was down on my luck, mentally, physically, spiritually, and Kevin was that light right there. Kevin was that light that sparked that. He put that seed. He put that seed of God, and he would always bring me books.
Yeah, we visited every week for about a year.
Yeah, right?
We got really close.
Yeah,
and then he disappeared, and I got mad at him. I said, "Oh boy, let me hang."
I went to the Department of Corrections.
But we reconnected as adults.
Yes.
And that was around the face, so that was really beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Well, I'm sure there's a lot more we could explore there. But Margot, what about you? What are your first memories of when this man Kevin Stars first came into your life?
So I remember him just pulling up to the neighborhood in a red little truck, at that time, and full of passion, of doing his purpose in this prison ministry. And he just kept showing up every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, he would show up like clockwork right at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he would try to have conversations with us. But us in the neighborhoods, we looked at him like as a police officer or informant trying to come and get information. So we would try to keep our distance from him. But every Tuesday, he would keep showing up in his little red truck. And his consistency just brought that open for us to allow him to come in and just be him, you know what I mean? And so to trust him. And so ever since then, he just, we've been, we never left each other's sight, we just hand in hand walk this earth,
Yeah, right. Just, walking together.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm just imagining putting yourself in, I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes. So it's like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
What is he doing here? What does he want from us? Is he a priest? He's not a priest. So is he a religious person? What is he? Do you remember, what were some of the kind of just the ups and the downs in your kind of, not just your in terms of, Kevin from prison ministry, but just kind of just your journey and some of the ups and the downs, and then how you experienced really just God in the midst of those ups and downs.
So we grew up in a poverty environment, you know what I mean, where there was drugs, prostitution, killings, you know, the worst of the worst. And so I wasn't raised with a mom or a dad, you know what I mean? So we just grew up in a neighborhood, and we little kids grew up, and we just formed our own little brotherhood there, and ended up becoming a gang and everything. But we were on survival mode at that moment in time, and we didn't have no structure of male structure in our lives at all. We had them, but they were in prison, and that's what we used to look up to, you know?
Yeah.
My thing was, I wanted to be the best person in prison, you know, the highest ranking, whatever, the statues of that lifestyle at that time. But here comes Kevin, you know, and Kevin brought he had the spark of the Holy Spirit in him just consistently, you know, and so we didn't know anything. We knew of God, but we didn't know who Jesus Christ was. And through Kevin's actions coming every day and planting them seeds, and we would go and do little trips. He would take us to the church, and then we'll go pray. We didn't know nothing about praying. We didn't know nothing about any kind of structure of the Catholic faith. And so he brought that, and he strengthened that for us, even though we didn't understand it at that moment in time. But he was consistent, and now I'm really, really, truly grateful for that. You know what I mean? And I'm blessed.
Yeah. Now, for the sake of our listeners, so where was this when you said we'd see him almost every day? So where was that specifically?
We would be in our neighborhood. So okay. we would in our neighborhood. He would just show up, and I think at that time you were doing.
Well, we also did something at St. Pius, which is 7th Ave and Buckeye, and they would come, you know, and then eventually we would invite to do retreats, and we'd go to California, you know, those type of things. And it was a lot of killings in that time, a lot of shootings, a lot of overdoses. So it was a real intense time.
But now, was that through the
No, this was a diocese.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, how did you connect? Because you guys were so young in those days, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, because that wasn't prison ministry per se, was it?
Yeah. Well, we were going to Adobe Mountain Juvenile Facility, and a lot of little homies from the neighborhood, his neighborhood, were at Adobe. So we invited them to St. Pius when they got out. And Father John Arthur, we started doing a weekly thing, and then his neighbors came, and then we would go see them, and it just grew from there.
Okay, so it was through Adobe, the Juvenile Detention Center, that's how you first connected.
Yeah.
Then you're back in the neighborhood, and then you started going down there connecting. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, that makes sense. Yeah. Let me ask a question for either one of you. What do you think would most surprise people who have not been incarcerated? They've not been in the county jail. They've not been in different prisons. What do you think would most surprise them about the experience of what that's actually like?
From my experience, I can honestly tell you that it makes you maybe a lot worse of a person than you are, because when you get in there, you got to put a game face on, something that you're really not. Most men committed a crime and were sentenced, but they don't know the game in there. They don't know the individuals that are doing life in there, that you're going into a pod, a dorm, that these guys are running that show. So you're going to become what you're going to become in there, or you're going to pretend to be something you're not. And you put a mask on. I say it's a mask. And you walk those steps, you pretend to be that person. And some people that's their life. I grew up in Guadalupe, and this is the function that I've seen all my life. I've seen it in my home. I've seen it in my house. I've seen it in the streets. It was an everyday thing. And to see a lot of individuals, kids that really just committed a crime, and now they got to play this part. And some of them are sitting there for life because of the parts they played there. So you got to be very careful. You got to go in there with a strong mind, knowing that I'm not going to get involved in anything. I'm here to do my time. I'm here to just do whatever this facility allows me to do, which is chow, rec, shower, come back into your cell. I was in a 4-yard, so that's the way I lived my life for many years. And it's not glamorized the way, I think you should be really, really set on what you're doing out here in the streets, because it's not what you think it is in there. These people will take advantage of you, but you do find some good people that will try to help you out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's really interesting. So, life is hard, and I'm sure, when there's not a lot of structure in life, you can get into trouble. But it sounds like what you're saying is when you end up incarcerated, it can be even more difficult. You can come out worse than you were before you went in terms of just being able to
and you know
strive
what?
after good things,
there's
right?
truth to that, because I was told by my family, like, you came out a lot worse than you went in. And I went back in there, and I fixed myself in there. That's the funny thing. I stood in my room, started reading my word. I mean, that seed that Kevin planted a long time ago really started resonating and growing. And I started reading my Bible. I started just really taking a self-inventory of my life, my thoughts, my mind, why I do the things I do. But it's all into an individual. The individual himself is going to figure out what he wants in life. And there's a lot of good in us. I know we walk in the flesh. I know that the spirit within us is stronger. We just got to tap into it.
What do you speak on that, Mario?
Yeah, thanks for that.
And I think it just starts with the environment. You know, you're at your home. You know what I mean? If you have a solid, I believe you have a solid foundation at home, a father figure or a mother figure, and you're raised well as a kid, because when you're not raised I wasn't raised with any mom or dad. So like my mindset was just surviving and not knowing who I was as a person. You know what I mean? I didn't have that structure foundation of like, I'm a good kid or this and that, or a bad kid, because at the things I was doing bad, I didn't think they were doing bad. I thought I was selling drugs. I thought I was selling drugs to make money for food, you know? So to provide food for my family, you know? And so the things like that, it just who you are as a person, as a child, and the love and the caring and the positive things in life. But I was raised with all the negative stuff. So it led me to that structure, you know? So like he said earlier, like my brother said earlier, when you go in there, you know what I mean? Like there's some people that's them, you know, and there's some that are faking it, or there's some that are not as real and honest with themselves, and they don't know who they are as a person yet. So you can't expect them to be who they are. But I was one of them little kids where I knew who I was.
A young kid growing into a man in that facility.
Yeah.
Like those are your years of you growing into that.
And those facilities are full of drugs, full of gangs, full of killings, full of stabbings, and you're put in that. And it's either,
and we're raised in that environment already. So for me, it was like I was already destined to be okay in there.
You know
I was going to survive. You know, and that lifestyle. But there's other kids that go in there and they're so innocent. You know, they just made one mistake, and you know they come and they're trying to perceive someone that they're not, and then that's when they get in trouble. That's when they get addicted to drugs or into the gang, and then they do something wrong, and then now it messes up their whole lifestyle, right? But I believe it starts with the community and the structure at home, you know. And if you have a strong family background on doing positive things, I think you have the more chances of becoming a successful person out here in the community.
Yeah. You know, along those lines, actually, I'd love to ask you how have you experienced like that trend? I don't know, from the basically transitioning back out of being kind of in the institution and then kind of back into the world where that structure's not there. I mean, the danger's not there in the same way, but the structure's not there. So how do you experience that?
I got an answer for that. It has to start in there. You got to want it. You got to be honest with yourself. Like I said, you got to take a self-inventory of who you are as an individual, the person. Like some people don't have fathers, some people don't have. I never had a father. I did and I didn't. You know, I mean, he was in drugs, doing everything. My mom, she was there. Some part of my life she wasn't when I was young. Then she came back, and just put it like this: I look at Kevin as a mentor. And he was a blessing. God sent him into these neighborhoods in Arizona to do the things he did. A lot of us don't have a Kevin. You know, I mean, there's so many kids out there that don't have a Kevin. I speak about Kevin to a lot of people. What he does, I look at him as a big bro. I call him my big bro, my mentor. And I don't really know where I'd be. You know what I mean, but God had a plan here. God was putting this together 2003, 2005, and we were going to be sitting here speaking to you.
Yeah.
Why don't I go right here? I didn't know this gentleman right here until I met him through Kevin. And his story sounds exactly like mine. So these stories are everywhere.
Yeah, that's great. What would you say to that, Kevin? Like, what your experience of that?
Well, you know, it's like a lot of times they'll get out and they mean well, but they get out and they start running and gunning again, you know, and next thing you know, like you said, they learn more in there. And when Margaret got out, and man, here we go, you know, all kind of craziness. But the thing about he would always go when I invited him, let's go to a retreat. And he would go, and we're driving up to a retreat. I can't believe you're going on this retreat because I know who you are. And, go put the gun in the bush, and just go to the retreat for a couple of times. But always would go. Always would go. And I guess those seeds were planted, and then, now seeing them as these men, they have their own businesses, their families, their relationships, their kids are restored. And now as adults, they're there for me a lot. They're like, Kev, you got to shake it off. I'll be whining about something. And these guys are telling me to shake it off. They've been through hell and back and hell and back. So I'm like, yes, sir. So now we have these adult relationships where this deep friendship that, goes back 25 years, and now they're adults, and we're there for each other. We really, as iron sharpens iron, we really sharpen each other now. And now just watching them be fathers and husbands and community members, it's amazing, seeing God, how he transformed their lives, but they chose to enter into, that transforming power that Jesus does for all of us. And it's amazing to watch, it's an honor to be part of it. It really is.
Yeah. But I mean, let me ask you this, Kevin. So you've been doing this work, that's impacted so many people. I mean, you got so many brothers and sisters that have these relationships that have grown out of this. But what this 30-year arc? What's this arc been like for you, and especially in terms of like motivation? Like what kind of motivates you? Because I mean, there's obviously been some great things. You guys are here having this conversation now, but there's probably been some situations that have been really, really tough that have made you say, "Gosh, why am I getting out of bed and doing this every single day when it's tough?"
Well, I think God transformed my life, and that's another story. So I wanted to bring that to other people. But when you're in it for 20, 25 years, and all you see is death, destruction, falling back, people back in prison, people, but the relationships keep you going. And, you look at other ministries, we have this success, we have that success. Oh, I'm glad you guys do. I just got friends who are crazy. But now flash forward, these guys are in their 40s, and now you see their lives, and you're like, wow. And it's to their credit. They chose to, self-reflect, ask God into their lives. And really, relationships are two-way. I can go after them, but they didn't choose to be in a relationship with me. So really, over all these years, it's just the relationships. We can just sit here and talk and laugh and cry, and and they always came to me, and I always came to them. So the relationships were two ways, and that's the sweetest. Even when they were crazy, the relationships were still beautiful. They really were. We would laugh and cry, and
he's this man right here.
So the relationships really kept us going.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't you say about that?
And I think for Kevin being consistent, you know what I mean? In the environment we grew up, we don't have male role models or many role figures, and so like everyone gives up on us, right? I truly believe like my dad gave up on me, my uncles gave up on me as a role model, positive role model. Kevin was always consistent in showing up. And he had
with positive,
and
positiveness.
He gave us a structure of how a man should walk on earth. You know what I mean? Even though he probably might have not known how to walk this earth, you know what I mean? Especially in the line of prison ministry, coming and trying to do this, and he has more failures than success. But I think his success molded us as men now. That the community, it's not just us no more. It's bigger than that. You know what I mean? Because we have generations under us now that have a role model structure. You know what I mean? And so like I got a handful of friends that are doing well, and they came from the background I came from, and now they're role models to their kids and their sisters, their cousins and uncles, and all. So it's just not. He made a big impact in the community, and
he sure did,
in different areas of the community of Arizona. So he set the structure for us, and I'm really grateful for that. You know what I mean?
It's our responsibility to take what God gave this man. It's our responsibility to take what God gave this man and use it. You know what I mean? God doesn't give us a gift just to keep it inside. I talked to my wife about it. She says, why do you go talk to you? I have to. I mean, I had a man that would go and follow me in prison here and in the streets. what are 10, 20 minutes of my time speaking to another individual about my experience and about what God did to my life? Because I praise God every day. I tell him every day I wake up with gratitude in my heart. That's the first thing I wake up with. Like, I'm not in a cell. I have a car. I have a roof over my head. I have a job. I have a beautiful wife, kids. And God was graceful enough to give me that. Yeah. And I look at it like that now.
Yeah, thanks.
It's so neat to see them as fathers. And their kids have fathers, and they're good fathers, and they're happy fathers, they're loving fathers, they're exuberant, and just watching them be the fathers that they didn't have, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. Well, let me, as we kind of close to the end of this conversation, which has just been really joy to learn a little bit more about you guys. But Kevin, so let's take it back to you. So almost 30 years of prison ministry here in the Diocese of Phoenix, and you're getting ready for a little thing, the big R word, retirement, whatever that means. So tell us a little bit about just your mindset and kind of your next stage and how you're seeing what God might do in your life in when you are officially no longer doing the director of prison ministry.
Well, I'm not really sure because I don't know, but I know the relationships we have are here. So they're lifelong relationships. Those aren't going anywhere. Yeah. But moving forward, in this world, you have drug rehabs in our world. And there was never a Catholic drug rehab. If you wanted to go to rehab and go to Mass and all that, you can't. We're starting the Kobe mission. It's a Catholic drug rehab. We're building it. It's not built yet. Margaret's on the board. Yes. And it's officially a nonprofit, kobemission.com. We have a website, and we'll be raising money to eventually, if you want to go to a Catholic drug rehab, you can. I get calls from all over the country for people that want to send their kids to a Catholic drug rehab, and they can't. So that's what we're going to spend the rest of our time till God takes us home. And being with my wife. My wife's been part of the ministry for years. She's mentored. All the guys love my wife. All the homies love my wife. They do, And she's walked with their babies' mamas, their wives. Mm-hmm. She's mentored them for years. So part of it's just to be with my wife. And I really mean that because she's been a soldier. Yes, even when Margot and them were crazy, they was all gangstered out. They see my wife, they come hug up. Hey, Sylvia! This fool gonna go steal a car. Right after go hug my wife. But there was just that love, when I first met my wife, I was hanging out with some gangsters. I took them on our first date. My wife's like, "Why are you bringing this gangster on our first date?" Well, honey, it's all right. It'll be good, But she stayed with it for all the years, So just being with her.
She's a saint, bro.
Yes, she is. So being with her, Sylvia. And then also raising money for the Kobe mission, and then building it, and then just keeping these relationships alive. We have a lot of fun. We do fun stuff. We go hiking. We play ball. We read the Word. We laugh. We cry.
That's great. Well, let's keep the Colby mission in our prayers. That's really, really exciting. That would be amazing to have. Like a God-centered Catholic place for rehab. Yeah, that'd be absolutely amazing. Yeah. Well, there's a big church word that's kind of popular these days, which is accompaniment, and sometimes that can sound kind of cheesy or superficial, but it's just it's everything you're describing. It's just the way God loves us, right? It's just sharing our lives together, and just being on the journey together, like no matter what, and that's really beautiful. I mean, that's the love of Christ. That's how God loves us. So it's
even when they were bad, we had a good time. Even to this day, they're just walking with each other and lifting each other up whenever we're down. And it's vice versa. So. It's so beautiful that God just works through us, and uses Christ as in the moment, and enjoy this process of whatever we're going through in the journey at this moment in time. So, it's beautiful.
Most men don't have that. Yeah. Most men don't have another man right there telling you his experience and helping you out.
And now we have these adult relationships. We just love it. So praise the Lord. Praise the Lord, brother. Shake it off, kid.
Shake it off, kid. It's going to be all right. Let's get it through. We got one day. Take it one day at a time.
Okay. Yeah. Well, gentlemen, thanks. Thank you for the time, and really, really enjoyed this conversation. And Kevin, thanks for all your for sharing so much too over these last 30 years with so many people in the Diocese of Phoenix.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Father. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Well, thanks to all of our listeners for joining us here on this Life Talk. Please like and subscribe and send us your ideas about maybe some future topics here on Life Talk, and also spread the word about this relatively new podcast. I think this is episode number 2. So thanks for helping us do a good job with the second one. And please join us next month when on Life Talk we'll be talking with the Sisters of Life, who are some wonderful ladies doing some incredible work right here in the Diocese of Phoenix. And thanks for joining. Have a blessed and life-filled day.